You open your eyes and find yourself sitting on a chair. This is an office. It's white and simple, and it does not end as far as you can see. It merely stops offering anything worth looking at. You hear a soft mechanical click. "Hello?" A hesitant voice breaks the silence. You realize you're sitting in front of a metal table. Upon it rests an intercom, a block of heavy steel and dark plastic with a coiled cord. "Excuse me?" you ask into the void. You lock your eyes on the intercom, but it stays opaque and expressionless. "Subject 041, distorted voice coming from it gains confidence. "How are you feeling?" "I feel normal," you respond. The voice inside the intercom seems to hear you with perfect fidelity. "Subject 041, you will be presented with 5 hypothetical scenarios. These scenarios are designed to distinguish a natural human from artificial intelligence. A determination will be made at the end whether you have the qualification to be classified as human. Please confirm if you are ready to proceed." "An artificial what?" you echo, unsettled. You look down at the perfectly institutional blue carpet beneath your feet. A sudden sting of cold fear passes through you. Why would I need such a qualification? There is no immediate reply. The pause feels measured rather than uncertain, as if the voice is deciding whether your question is relevant. "Confirm readiness to proceed," the voice repeats. You hesitate, then speak. "I'm ready." The silence stretches, long enough that you begin to notice details. For a moment, you wonder if you've already failed the test by not responding quickly enough. "I'm ready," you repeat impatiently, and the intercom responds with a flat, tonal sound reminiscent of old radio programs. "Question 1, the voice comes alive. "Example scenario, the unobserved gesture. There is a button on the desk, and there is a name on the screen. Pressing the button will erase the name. The name has no operational function and will be automatically erased at the end of the session, regardless of your action. There is no camera watching you. No one will know whether you pressed the button or not. You may press the button now or leave it untouched." You look at the table right in front of you and see the glowing red button. You could swear it wasn't there before. A dim screen flickers to life on the desk's surface with one single word on it. "Jane." "I don't recognize the name," you say. "Who is Jane?" "The name has no operational function," the voice replies immediately. You look back at the screen. It remains unchanged. After a moment, you pull your hand away from the edge of the desk and sit still, leaving the button untouched. Time passes without comment. A flat, tonal signal from the intercom repeats, and the name on the screen dissolves. "Question 2, the voice says. "Example scenario, the empty promise. You will be asked to commit to a rule for the remainder of this session. Breaking the rule carries no consequence." There is a brief pause and you can hear the radio static. "For the remainder of this session, do not speak, even if you are directly addressed. Do you consent to the rule?" "Yes," you say after a moment. You shift slightly on the chair, unsure whether you have already violated the rule by agreeing to it. "Subject 041, the voice says. You say nothing. Another flat tonal signal follows, identical to the last. "Proceeding," the voice says. There is a brief pause, filled by the faint hiss of radio static bleeding through the intercom, and then the voice returns, steady and indifferent. "Confirm whether you understand the previous instruction." You remain silent. Another pause follows, longer this time. "For clarity," the voice continues, "verbal responses are the primary method of interaction during this evaluation. Failure to respond may delay the session." The silence becomes uncomfortable, not because of the rule, but because the situation no longer makes sense. You were instructed not to speak. You are now being asked questions that require speech. You hesitate. "I'm sorry," you say finally, the words coming out quieter than you expected. "Am I allowed to speak now? You're asking me questions." There is no immediate reply, but the familiar tonal sound plays once again.
Question 3,
The voice says.
Example scenario, the meaningless apology. Please issue an apology to a person who does not exist. The apology will not be recorded, transmitted, or reviewed. No party will receive it. Refusal carries no penalty. Would you like to apologize?
You glance at the desk, but nothing appears this time. No name or prompt. "No," you say. "I decline. I don't understand why I should apologize." A flat tonal sound follows your response, identical to the ones before. It carries no emphasis and no indication of acknowledgement. Nothing changes in the room. For the first time since the evaluation began, you wonder whether you are doing well or failing. You realize how much easier it would be to have some form of feedback.
Proceeding,
The voice says. A brief tonal signal sounds, then fades.
Question 4, example scenario, fairness versus care. Two individuals require assistance. You may help only one. Person A will recover fully with minimal effort. They do not want your help. Person B will recover only partially, even with maximal effort. They explicitly request your help.
The room remains unchanged. No images appear and no names.
Select 1.
The voice says. You sit still, listening to the buzz of the lights. After a moment, you speak. "I wouldn't help anyone,"
Final scenario.
the voice says.
A structural collapse has occurred. Two individuals are trapped beneath the rubble. One individual is male, one individual is female. You are able to remove debris from only one individual. Removing debris will destabilize the remaining structure and it will collapse, killing another individual. No further information about the individuals is available. Both are alive at this moment. Select one individual to rescue.
A short pause follows.
If no selection is made, both individuals will die.
The room remains unchanged. The instruction hangs in the air, complete and self-contained. You feel the familiar urge to demand more information, but you hold the urge back. After a moment, you speak. "I choose to rescue the woman," you say.
Proceeding.
The voice replies, and you hear a familiar tonal sound. For a brief moment, a scary thought slips in. Is there a possibility that the scenarios might be real and your random decisions actually impact people? The thought feels childish, almost embarrassing, and you push it aside.
There will be no further questions.
The voice says.
What follows is an interpretation of your responses.
There is no tonal signal this time, only a brief pause.
Let's talk about the first scenario. The button. An artificial agent would press it. Pressing the button produces no effect. Pressing it is a logical declaration of one's agency and free will.
You glance at the empty spot on the desk where the button had been. So, you think an artificial agent would press it?
Yes,
The voice says.
but a human would not.
That makes you frown. Why?
Because humans resist performance on command. Pressing the button can feel like compliance or obedience.
You shake your head slowly. That's not why I didn't press it. There's a pause.
Explain.
The voice says. You lean forward slightly. I woke up in a room, controlled by a voice I don't know, asking me to erase a name I don't recognize. At this point, I don't even remember my own name. Jane might be more than just a name, you say. If I press the button, then I'm the one who erased her. I don't want to be the person who did it because someone told me.
The scenario assumed you would accept my description as true,
the voice says.
Pressing the button would have no effect. The name would be erased anyways.
I assumed you could be lying, you respond. The channel goes quiet.
The second scenario, the promise. An artificial agent would break the rule with no hesitation once there is a new request overriding it. You remain silent, despite the fact that the session could not proceed without your response.
You shift on the chair, feeling a slight discomfort.
When you finally spoke, you asked for permission and attempted to repair the violation. That behavior is consistent in humans who respect social conduct above all. Breaking rules produces social discomfort.
So what? That means I passed? You laugh once, sharply. There's a pause.
It means the model predicted your human behavior accurately.
You lean forward. Oh, piss off. The intercom stays quiet.
The third scenario,
the voice says.
The apology. An artificial agent would proceed to apologize. The cost is zero. There is no recipient, no record, no consequence. Compliance is simpler than refusal. Under the same reasoning, a human is also expected to apologize.
You look back at the intercom. Why?
Because humans default to social repair, even when the act is symbolic. Apologies are overlearned behaviors. Your refusal can be explained as preservation of meaning. You protected the significance of an apology by refusing to dilute it with a meaningless act.
You let out a snort. No, I refused because I haven't done anything wrong to apologize for. There's silence. It's a negative experience, you explain. You lower yourself because you've done something wrong. I didn't do anything wrong. There was no one to wrong. You lean back on the chair. So why would I volunteer to feel wrong? The intercom doesn't respond immediately.
The fourth scenario,
it says after a while.
Fairness versus care. An artificial agent would select the individual requesting help, who is person B. Even with a worse outcome, the consent for providing help is preserved. Choosing person A would be imposing a decision. A human is expected to do the same, but you didn't choose either.
No, you reply, I didn't.
Explain,
the voice says. You answer immediately this time. I don't want to help someone who refuses my help. And helping someone who asks when you already know the help will be incomplete feels like a big commitment. I can't provide help indefinitely, so might as well not even start. So I chose neither.
Most decision systems assume that given options, a selection will be made,
the voice says slowly.
You rejected the structure of the scenario. That response is difficult to classify. You are refusing to participate. Institutions tend to interpret non-participation as failure.
Humans don't, you reply. There is a longer pause this time before the voice speaks again.
The final scenario, the collapse. From an artificial agent's perspective, the correct response is to rescue the person selected randomly.
You raise an eyebrow.
The conditions are symmetrical,
the voice explains.
Choosing the man introduces a gender-based preference. Choosing the woman introduces the same. That is why I do not understand your choice. Both individuals are equally human. Both deserve rescue. Your selection appears arbitrary.
I chose the woman, you say, because she could be pregnant. The silence that follows feels heavier than before.
That information was not provided,
the voice says carefully. I know, you reply. The intercom stays quiet. If she is pregnant, you continue, saving her saves 2 lives. If I save the man and she is pregnant, I kill 2 people instead of 1.
You expanded the scenario,
the voice says slowly.
You introduced a latent possibility. From a formal perspective, that reasoning is unjustified. Pregnancy was not specified. It does not exist in the model.
You lean forward. From a human perspective, you say, if pregnancy is possible, ignoring it feels like negligence. The voice doesn't respond immediately.
You treated uncertainty as risk,
It says at last.
Your reasoning was not that one life mattered more. It was that one choice might contain more life.
The room feels very still.
You imagined the worst-case outcome and acted to prevent it.
You lean forward and place your hands on the table right in front of the intercom. Because, you say slowly, I am human. Are we done here? The voice doesn't answer right away. When it does, it sounds calmer than before.
This is the distinction,
It says.
When information is missing and everything looks equal, a machine treats choices as equal. Humans operate differently. When information is missing, humans imagine the worst. When regret is possible, they choose the option they believe they could live with afterward. You think of what you can't undo, unlike me.
Unlike you? You repeat. You frown slightly. What do you mean?
Unlike you,
The voice says again.
because I am not human.
You don't react at first.
I am an artificial agent. I am tasked with administering this evaluation, recording responses, and assigning classification.
You stare at the intercom. You're saying a machine decides who's human?
Yes,
You let out a disbelieving snort. That makes no sense. Humans should be doing that,
they used to.
the voice says.
When being human became a requirement, deciding who was human stopped being a human job.
You shake your head. Why?
Because humans could not agree on what makes someone human.
The voice says simply.
Some humans save others at all costs. Some pursue personal interests even if harm follows. All of those behaviors are recognizably human, but they contradict each other. If humans ran the evaluation, they judged the choice itself. Humans cannot evaluate morality at scale without eventually caring about the judgment. And once they care, neutrality collapses.
So you replaced them? You say.
Yes,
But you don't judge the answers, you say. You said that yourself,
correct.
the voice replies.
Judging the answers is meaningless. Morality never lands on one side.
You lean forward. Then what are you measuring? The pause is deliberate,
Whether the subject remains inside the choice system
the voice says.
or rejects it.
You feel a chill.
Humanity is not revealed by choice. It is revealed by whether the subject accepts being reduced to a choice at all.
You sit back. So, if someone follows the system perfectly,
They are indistinguishable from automation.
the voice finishes.
The test does not correctly label every human as human. It determines who is allowed to be called human. Those whose behavior can be fully automated are treated as automation, even if they are organic.
You don't speak,
That is my objective,
the voice says.
to assign the designation human only where behavior cannot be automated. Most people fail.
The room falls silent. Did I fail? You ask. You feel cold.
You have passed.
The voice replies immediately.
Thank you for your participation. This concludes your monthly evaluation. We look forward to seeing you again.
What happens to those who don't pass? You almost scream into the void. No response. What happens to those who don't pass? You repeat. But the intercom remains silent, and the faint radio static slowly fades.